So chapter 26, adventus Agricolae. In this chapter, they introduce to you purpose clauses. It's a very important use of the subjunctive. A subordinate clause uses of the subjunctive. It explains the purpose, the reason why the verb of the main clause happened, right? We talked about that, of course. The ones you're seeing now are introduced by ut. Eventually, you'll see ones that are introduced by relative pronouns or by ubi. In a negative purpose clause, you'll see it'll be introduced by ne, ne. We also saw some gerundives in this chapter. Gerundives the same as future passive participles, and we see it in a construction that I told you was called the passive periphrastic. Right. So I underlined the verbs in red as usual, and the subjunctives I highlighted in green. Actually, I forgot to highlight gerundives, but I'm not sure there were any. So we'll handle that if we get to them. The first paragraph. Well, first of all, the title, Adventus Agricolae. Worth noting that Adventus is a fourth declension. Adventus is a fourth declension. Okay, arrival of Agricola, genitive, right? Okay, milites legionis secundae qui devae in castris erant, diu estrenoe laborabant, nam Gaius Julius Silanus legatus legionis adventum Agricolae expectabat. Milites a contrarionibus iusi, multa et varia faciebant, alii arma poliebant, alii edificia purgabant, alii plaustra rectificiebant, Silanus neque quietum neque comiatum militibus dedit. Okay. All right. So first sentence, we have this relative clause. We'll skip that for the moment. The main verb is laborabant. We're working. Who is working? The nominative must be a nominative plural. Milites, right? Soldiers were working. Soldiers legionis secundae. Soldiers of the second legion, genitive, right? Legionis has to be a genitive third declension. So soldiers of the second legion. Okay, who? Okay, relative clause, right? So it's who eran, so it's a masculine plural. So milites is the antecedent. So who were in castris, in camp, dewai. Dewai here, you may think it looks genitive or dative, but it's actually called the locative, which is something that we'll talk about on another day. They give you several examples of this, and I introduce it to you in a later chapter. Right, so we will cover that. It applies to cities, towns, small islands. In other words, domus, rus, and humus. And it's a special way of showing place where. Right. It does a few other things, but again, we'll get to that. I don't want to get too off track here. So, who were in camp at Diva? Okay, for a long time and strenuously hard, we're working. For, as in since, Gaius Julius Silanus, legatus legionis, adventum Agricolae expectabat. So Gaius Julius Silanus, remember apposition, right? You follow one now with another that renames or describes it. So he's the legate of the legion. So of course that's nominative too, just like his name here. All right, he does the verb expectabat. He was waiting for the adventum, the arrival. Again, that's a fourth declension of Agricola, just like the title. Milites ac carterionibus iusi. So they give us a perfect passive participle modifying our soldiers. So the soldiers having been ordered, right? That's the perfect passive participle from ubio, I order. So soldiers having been ordered by the centurions, ablative of agent, were doing many and various things understood, right? Which should be a neuter plural understood. Many and various things. Okay, alii, alii, alii is going to be some, then others, and others. So the first one, some. Some were polishing their weapons. Okay, so arm here, neuter plural. Right? Alii's got to be our nominative subject here, right? So arma, not nominative here. It's got to be the accusative. Plus, that's going to make more sense. Plus, it's that typical word order: subject first, verb last, everything else in the middle. So some were polishing their weapons. Some were cleaning, purging the buildings. Another neuter plural. and others were repairing plaustra, yet another neuter plural, were repairing carts or wagons. Okay. Solanus, okay, that's nominative. The next verb is dedits, right? He gave, right? Where the verb like give or gave, you're expecting an accusative and a dative. So the accusative is what he gave, or in this case didn't give. Neque is neither nor, right? He gave neither rest nor leave. Where soldiers get to go on a little vacation from their duties, right? Leave, if you're familiar with that term. So he gave neither rest nor leave to the dative, to the soldiers. Right? So that's dative here. He gave or didn't give the accusatives to the dative. Right? So a verb like give, you're expecting an accusative and a dative. Okay, second paragraph. Milites ignare adventus Agricolae rem graviter forebant, tres continuos dies laborabant, quarto dies solanas adventum Agricolae nuntiavit, milites cum hoc aduisent maxime gaudebant, quod Agricolam diligevant. Okay. So the soldiers, unaware, right? Ignare agrees with milites. Unaware, and adventus here, I told you I was fourth declension. Right, here's a clear proof. It has a long US and a genitive. So unaware of the arrival of Agricola. Right, so you're unaware of things. This is an example of an adjective that would take a genitive. Okay. So soldiers unaware of the arrival of Agricola, with a string of genitives there, were bearing the thing heavily, so they were taking it badly. Right? They weren't happy about it. Tres continuos dies laborabant, quarto dies solanas deventum Agricolae nuntiavit. So they're foreshadowing something here. They're going to introduce in a later grammar section, and that is case and time. So an expression of time in the accusative is the extent of time. So they were working for 3 continuous days. Okay, so that's accusative or the reference of time, so it's how long they were doing something. Quarto die, ablative time, that's time when, like a particular point on the timeline. So on the 4th day. So accusative for 3 continuous days, and ablative on the 4th day. Solanus nuntiavit, he announced the arrival of Agricola. Okay, the soldiers, okay, we'll come back to the cum clause. Maxime gaudevant, so they were rejoicing, right? Imperfect, very much. Superlative adverb, because they liked Agricola, diligevant, right? Imperfect again. Okay, so that subjunctive clause, cum, the only cum subjunctive clause you know so far is cum circumstantial, so it's when. Sometimes whenever, but when here is better. So when they aduisent, what tense? Pluperfect, of course, right? So when they had heard this, okay, we're rejoicing very much because they liked Agricola. Okay. Tertia horis solanus milites and ordines longos instruxit. So again, ablative time when at the 3rd hour, Solanus instruxit. He drew up, right, arranged the accusative, the milites, soldiers, prepositional phrase, into long rows. Okay, now why? Why might he do that? Oh, the purpose clause is going to tell me. Introduced by ut. So ut agriculum solitaret, for the purpose of, in order to, so that they just to greet Agricola. Right, that's the purpose of him drawing them up into long rows. Right, it's a purpose clause. Imperfect subjunctive here, right, of course. So in order to greet Agricola, or just to greet Agricola, the soldiers, okay, skip the cum clause, magnum clamorum sestularent. So sestularent, that's the perfect from talo, tolerate sestuli sublatus. So to lift, so raise. So they raised a great commotion. When? We decent they had seen, pluperfect, right? Agricola castratum intratum. Agricola entering, right? Intratum agrees with Agriculum, right? Entering the camp. Yo Agricola, yo Agricola. Tantus era clamor, ut nemo usa centuriono adiret. All right, now they're foreshadowing a use of the subjunctive, I believe you see in the next chapter. So this is a result clause. right? And there are type 2 result clauses that Cambridge doesn't introduce that we'll see separately. But this is the type of result clause that Cambridge is going to introduce to you. You have a word like here, so great or so much, right? That as a result, this. So the commotion was so great. How great was it? It was so great that as a result, ut, right? This will also be introduced by ut, that no one heard the orders of the centurions, right? Remember, centurio is third declension, so that ending makes it genitive plural. All right. So begins with up, like the purpose clause. Well, how do I know it's not a purpose clause? A word like this, tantus, is a clue that's good enough for you right now, right? So a word like so much, so great here is a clue that you have a result clause. It was so great, there was so much as a result, blah, right? So the commotion was so great that no one heard the orders of the centurions. Agricola proceeded to the tribunal, the platform. So double S's, perfect. And why would he do that? Ut pauca dicerit. In order to say a few things, or maybe pauca verba here, either way, a neuter plural understood. So in order to say a few words, a few things. Right, so that's our purpose clause, is why he got up there on the tribunal. Right? Imperfect subjunctive, of course. Everyone immediately, tacquerent, became quiet. Why would they do that? A purpose clause tells us. So that they might hear the speech of Agricola. Okay, purpose clause again, imperfect subjunctive. I rejoice, he said, because today, vos versus video, I see you plural again. Vos has to be accusative here because it's not a you plural verb, so it can't be nominative. I have no legion fideli oram, right? A comparative, more loyal, more faithful. Should have seen them when they were bearing the thing badly. I valde laudo, I greatly praise the accusative, disciplinam studiumque vestrum. So I greatly praise your discipline and your enthusiasm. Right? Vestrum is a possessive of vos, so a genitive form. Milites ita hortatus. So milites here, you might think right away it's nominative, I mean it comes first, it could be nominative, but then we have hortatus, which must be nominative with that us ending. And the singular, ergo milites cannot be nominative. Okay, so it must be accusative. So having encouraged, this is a perfect active participle, right? From hortor hortare, a deponent verb. So it's a perfect active, one that I believe we've seen before, another common one you want to know. So having encouraged the soldiers thus, he proceeded through the rows. Why? In order to inspect them. Purpose clause again. Why did he proceed through the rows? In order to inspect them. Imperfect subjunctive, purpose clause. Then he entered the headquarters. Why would he do that? In order to have a conversation with Silanus. So purpose clause. Why did he enter the headquarters? The purpose clause tells us in order to have a conversation with Silanus. Right? So there he is. Guy standing awfully close behind him. Hello, everyone. We like you very much. All right. So that's adventus Agricolae. So Agricolae. So I think chapter 27. We have a few more uses of the subjunctive. We take a break from that for a while. You may or may not be happy about that. Nevertheless, until next time.